The Lantern Keeper. There's a town few speak of, hidden at the edge of the world, where the sea meets jagged cliffs and the fog never lifts. The town is called Duskhaven, a place where night comes early, and dawn is but a fleeting whisper. In the heart of Duskhaven stands the lighthouse, a crooked, ancient tower that juts out toward the sea like a finger pointing to doom. It has no light anymore, save for a single lantern carried by its keeper. No one remembers when the Lantern Keeper arrived. He simply appeared one evening, a tall figure cloaked in shadow, his face hidden beneath the brim of a weathered hat. He never spoke, only nodded when villagers passed. They knew little of him, except this. Each night, as the fog rolled in thicker than a funeral shroud, he would climb the lighthouse steps and hold the lantern aloft. The light never flickered, never faltered, and it always pointed out to sea. At first, the villagers believed it was a kindness. Ships avoided the sharp rocks below, and no wrecks marred their shores. But as the years passed, they began to notice strange things. Those who ventured too close to the lighthouse reported hearing whispers, soft, urgent, and laced with sorrow. The sea seemed angrier near its base, its waves crashing against the rocks with unnatural fury. And those who dared to look out into the dark horizon where the lantern pointed never came back. One stormy evening, a young sailor named Elias arrived in Duskhaven. He had grown up hearing tales of the lighthouse, of the Lantern Keeper, and the mystery surrounding him. Elias was a man of reason, not one to be swayed by ghost stories. "A light is just a light," he told the wary villagers in the tavern. "I'll see for myself what lies beyond it." The villagers tried to warn him, their faces pale with fear. "Don't follow the light," an old fisherman pleaded. "It doesn't lead to safety. It calls something that should stay in the deep." But Elias laughed off their warnings. That night, as the storm howled and the waves lashed against the cliffs, he set off toward the lighthouse. The climb up the cliffs was treacherous, the rain slicing his face like needles. When he reached the lighthouse, the door was already open, swinging on rusty hinges. Inside, the air was damp and cold, and the spiral staircase stretched upward into an impossible darkness. He could see the faint glow of the lantern above, swaying gently as if in invitation. Elias climbed. The whispers began halfway up. At first, they were faint, like the rustle of leaves. Then, they grew louder, clearer, a woman's voice, pleading, "Don't go, don't let him see you." His pulse quickened, but he pressed on. The lantern's glow grew brighter with every step, until finally he emerged onto the tower's peak. The Lantern Keeper was there, his back to Elias, holding the lantern high. The light seemed wrong, too bright, too steady, its glow piercing through the fog like a needle through cloth. It pointed out to sea, illuminating a shape far in the distance, something vast and shifting beneath the waves. "Why do you hold the light?" Elias demanded, his voice trembling despite his resolve. The Lantern Keeper turned slowly. His face was still hidden beneath the brim of his hat, but Elias could feel his gaze, a weight, a force that made his knees weaken. When he spoke, his voice was hollow, like wind through an empty cave. "I do not hold the light," the keeper said. "The light holds me." Elias took a step back. "What is it pointing to?" The keeper tilted his head, as if considering whether to answer. Finally, he said, "It points to what watches us, what stirs when it sees movement. The light keeps it at bay until it doesn't." The fog parted then, revealing the full shape beneath the waves. Elias saw it, a leviathan of impossible size, its many eyes glowing faintly, like embers in the dark. It was awake now, its gaze fixed on the tower, and the lantern went out. The villagers say the storm lasted 3 days. When it cleared, the lighthouse was gone. The cliffs where it once stood were crumbled into the sea, and no trace of Elias or the lantern keeper was ever found. But on foggy nights, when the sea is calm and the town is still, some say they can see a faint light far out on the horizon, swaying gently in the dark. They never follow it.